Hello, this is Zeb. Some people might wonder who I am after a few episodes of this podcast. Hasn't been a lot of people listening yet, but maybe we'll get there. But my name is Zeb. I live in Denver, Colorado. Last year, I was part of a documentary that came out called the Alphabet Boys podcast, Season 1 Trojan Horse. It goes over how the FBI created a lot of the violence that happened during the summer of 2020 here in Denver, Colorado, and throughout the state. Um, Many people think of them as the BLM protests. During these protests, the FBI used a dangerous informant named Michael Windecker to create a bunch of violence as well that involved but wasn't limited to attacks on police stations, police training academies, and other places as well. If there was fire, the feds were there. They basically destroyed the movement here in Denver. And it's safe to say Denver's a small city compared to others. It's likely they did this on a nationwide basis. Nothing has happened, but here we are. There have been no changes in law. There have been other people to speak out, but nothing has changed. But I'll go over my opinions on that down the line. But during these protests, the informant, Michael Windecker, tried to get myself and another black man to kill the Attorney General of Colorado. We refused to do this. It would have been dumb. Partaking in such action would have solved nothing. If anything, it would have made everything worse. But during this time, the informant had threatened me a few times on the Signal messaging app, which the prosecutor said they didn't have the information on. And I bought him a gun after all these threats and the fear of what he could do to friends or family, not more so myself. Bought him the gun with the FBI's money, your tax dollars. Nothing really came of it for about a year, almost a year. But when I started getting vocal about my discontent and opinions of the Gretchen Whitmer hoax, I'll get on that down the line as well. I was picked up by the FBI, and I was charged with a gun charge that Hunter Biden just was pardoned for within the past few hours. Now, I'll go into more detail about what happened with me, but I want to, well, what happened with not just myself, but what happened here in Denver, Colorado. I'll get to that in another episode. But I really want to focus on Hunter Biden privilege. Hunter Biden has the same gun charge as me. His charges were stagnant before 2020. Prosecutors thought it would have been career suicide to pursue charges against Hunter Biden, but they didn't think it would be career suicide to set up violence across the country and hide that information. That wasn't career suicide. It wasn't career suicide to hide the fact that federal prosecutors here in Colorado hid the fact that the FBI created an assassination plot on Phil Weiser. That was not career suicide to do. It's not career suicide for them to railroad people with charges. That's not career suicide, but it is career suicide to charge the president's son with a rightful crime, Hunter Biden. It's unfair and it bothers me that I have to deal with this charge. I'm in my third year of federal probation. I have a felony, but I don't have Hunter Biden privilege. A lot of people don't have Hunter Biden privilege. As a matter of fact, most people don't have Hunter Biden privilege to get pardoned by their father. Look at the thousands of people or millions of people who had to deal with the same charge that Hunter Biden is getting away with. A charge that his father said he wasn't going to pardon him for, on top of other crimes that he's probably going to get away with. That's privilege. Call it white privilege if you want to, because he's a white guy. But that's elite privilege. That's something that the majority of Americans are never going to be able to experience. Weaponization is real. I'm not a Trump supporter, as people know, or people that I know know. But Trump's people and himself faced far more than Hunter Biden, ever could have imagined facing. Hunter Biden got away with this, and it's not fair. And I say it's not fair because all the people who don't have the opportunity or the privilege that Hunter has. And I have no problem with him being a drug addict. This is America. A lot of people are on drugs or recovering from drugs. But this is bullshit. And don't get me wrong, if I was Joe Biden, I'd pardon my son also. I would. I'm not going to lie about that. That'd be bullshit if I told you I would. But the fact that federal prosecutors didn't want to pursue charges because they thought it would be career suicide shows that there is privilege within the criminal justice system. They don't hesitate to charge or railroad the average person, but someone of the stature of Hunter Biden will get away with crimes. It's shameful. I know someone's going to sit back and say, but Trump, but I'm not talking about Trump right now. No, I'm not. This is a charge that every American, the charge that Hunter Biden has been gifted a get out of jail free card via his dad. How many people are charged with that on a yearly basis? How many people are charged on a monthly basis? That form is actually complicated to fill out in many cases as well. It's not easy. And so I see, when I've read in articles where people have a hard time filling it out, and they might be wrong about things. But they don't get the benefit of doubt. Excuse me, they don't get the benefit of privilege that Hunter Biden gets. And that's wrong. It really is. I feel disrespected personally because I wouldn't have bought the gun if I wasn't afraid or threatened. As a matter of fact, the day of my sentencing, the judge asked me, did I buy the gun because I was afraid? And I said yes. And there was proof. He had enough proof to know why I was afraid. Prosecutors did as well. Or they either threw away that information or they didn't think it would be career suicide to throw my life away and separate me from my family like they've done thousands of people, if not millions and millions of people. Weaponization is real. And right now, Hunter Biden is the face of privilege. Hunter Biden is the face of, hey, my dad will get me out of it. Hunter Biden is the face of, hey, I'm too important to deal with a charge like that. Hunter Biden is that face. And yes, there are many other faces of that, but he is the primary face right now. His father pardoned him after his father said he wasn't going to. Yes, I said I would pardon my son as well. But it doesn't excuse what prosecutors and courts did. It wasn't career suicide for them to bend rules for someone of a powerful stature. So why follow the rules here? If the courts are corrupt, and that's the one thing that's supposed to separate us from the rest of the world, if the courts are corrupt, the entire thing is fucked. Because none of us will get Hunter Biden privilege. None of us. Especially for the same gun charge as him. It's disrespectful, and it shows and probably will go down with Joe Biden being the shittiest president ever. He has protected people of his own ilk. He has censored people. He has attacked people via his administration. He's gone after journalists, etc., etc. No wonder they lost. We shouldn't be surprised. It's no surprise because he will hold other people to a higher standard than he would his own child or someone he's cool with. And let's not forget this as well. Hunter Biden did things for decades that got black people locked up for decades. I did an interview with one of them earlier who was locked up for things that people in power get away with every other day. And excuse me, it wasn't an interview. It was hopefully an interview. It's shameful. Hunter Biden was able to smoke crack for years. But since he didn't have to grow up in a racial jungle and he was Hunter Biden, he was Joe Biden's son, he didn't have to deal with the ramifications of other people that other people have to deal with. That's privilege. Much love.